Hello friends, it's Cassie and welcome to Sneak Peek Week for Trinity Stamps. Today I'm going to be sharing a little peek at the brand new stamp set called I Goat You, Babe. And there are some of the images in that stamp set. I went ahead and stamped those out. And here are some of the other products we're going to be using. We'll talk about those as we get to them. But let's color up our darling little images from the I Goat You stamp set. These are so cute. So I'm putting all of my colors up on the screen, and as I typically do, I am going to go from lightest to darkest. I stamped out these images using some Blackout ink, and I did that on some Express It cardstock. So those are Copic marker or alcohol marker friendly. And I'm coming in with my next darker color. This is the E43. And to be honest with you, I just had a color palette in mind, so I matched my goats to go with my color palette. I didn't look up goats or anything like that. I just kind of went with it, and I love how just absolutely darling these little images are. Bringing in our third color is the E44, and then I'm going to work backwards and blend that out just a little bit. As you notice, I put that darkest color on like his forehead and then on his hooves, and then I'm just blending that out. Then we're going to move on to our little girl goat, and I'm going to primarily do her a little bit darker. So I'll start with that E43 for the majority of her body, and I'll put that on her hooves as well. We're going to color that with our darkest color as well. We're going to bring in that E44 for our shadowing, and then we'll also just put it right on our hooves. And then I'll bring in that E44 over the top of the E43 that I did. So her lighter color will be around her eyes. So there it is, the E44, and then I'll bring in that E43 and blend that just a tiny bit. But they're so cute. And then I've got some pinks that I want to bring in. So that's going to go on their noses and then also on the little heart. I love how that heart looks like it's been kind of cut out, or maybe since these are goats, it's been bitten out of the little pants or the little shorts. So I'm going to match those colors. We've got our RV63 and our RV55, and I'll blend that out just a little bit. But I wanted to bring in another little color, so we are going to bring in like almost like a mustard color. So that's going to be our YR23. It's very subtle, and then we've got YR27, and yeah, that looks pretty dark, but I like how these go together. So then I'm going to bring in the matching dies for those, and we'll cut that out. And I'm also going to take this die. This is the Inverted Heart. This is a previously released die, and I just think it's awesome. But there are our little images. They've already been die cut out. And I want to find a way to make this little guy hold that pair of boxers. So I'm going to bring in an X-Acto knife, and we're just going to cut around his arm. Just going to go right along that black line, being very careful not to go too far. And then once that's all cut out, I'll even flip it over and try and cut it that way as well, because I don't want to tear it. And then once that's done, we can slip the little boxers right under his arm. And then I decide I'm going to do the same thing for her. I want her to be able to hold the heart. So we'll use that X-Acto knife and we'll cut around, and then she can hold the little heart. How fun is that? Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and glue those in place, and then we can set those off to the side. But that's just another fun way that you can add a little bit of extra detail to your images. Just pull out an X-Acto knife and cut around where you want, and then they can hold whatever. So I'll peel away that die. This die is cool because it gives you all the outside pieces and then like a little outline for the hearts. So I'm going to cut that out of some yellow cardstock as well. I'll keep all the extra pieces. I can use those on other cards. What I want from that yellow is just the outline. I'm going to bring in another previously released product. This is the Spring Day Scene Builder stencil, and it has 4 layers of, or 4 sides of grass that you can do, or bushes. So I brought in some evergreen bough, and I'm using my blender buddy, and I'm just going to blend that grass on there. And then I make another darker one there at the bottom. And now I do want to bring in some splatter. I want a little bit more of that gold, so I'm bringing in a gold splatter paint, and I'm going to splatter that all over that background just because I love splatter, and splatter makes everything better, in my opinion. And then I'm going to take this, and I'm going to glue this down to a pink piece of cardstock. So my pink cardstock was cut down to 4 inches by 5 1/4, Or no, it might be a little bit bigger than that. And then my white one is just slightly smaller, like barely smaller than that one, as you can tell. So that pink is very, as far as a border goes, it's very subtle, but it's obviously going to poke through on the hearts. I'll use some reverse tweezers, and I'm just going to put some glue all the way around that heart, inverted heart that we have. And then I'm going to glue that in place. It'll fit just nicely inside those hearts. You're just going to have to kind of manipulate it because that is fairly thin. So just kind of work with it. And then that'll bring out that gold a little bit more. Now I need to stamp out some sentiments. So I'm going to stamp a couple of different sentiments from the I Goat You stamp set. This one says, "My heart bleats for you." I love it. I love puns. And then the next one is, "I Goat You, babe." So I'm going to heat set those so that white embossing powder is smooth and melted. And then I used a matching die to cut those out as well. I love when Trinity does that, where you've got the die that'll cut right around the sentiment. It's just so cool. So now I've got my base. It's just some cardstock that I had in my stash that I cut down to 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and I'm scoring it at 5 1/2. So it will be a top folding A2 size card. And look at how that borders nicely. So yeah, the pink actually was 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And then the white piece was just slightly smaller than that. I'll glue down the I Goat You, babe, and then I'm going to bring out the 2 stamps that I used previously, and we're going to ink those up with that evergreen bow and stamp that on the inside. It's very subtle, but in person you can absolutely see it very nicely. It just kind of brings that outside to the inside. And then I can glue down my panel to my card base. And then you've got all those fun colors poking through, where you've got your gold, your pink, and then that fun green color. I'm going to put some foam tape on the back of our goats and our sentiment, and I'll peel off all of that release paper, and then we can put our little goats down. Just fun. They're standing in the grass holding those little pieces. And then I'll peel off the release paper for our sentiment. And I'm going to center that kind of over our inverted heart. But I can't stop there. I do need to bring in some baubles. So these are the bronzed brown baubles. And I'm using my pickup stick, and I'm just going to tack that down with a little bit of liquid glue. And when that is all done, that's going to finish off our card for today. So I hope you like this little sneaky peeky of our I Goat You. It will be available later on this week. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button and definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And be sure to check out all that Trinity Stamps has going on over on their blog, Instagram, and Facebook page. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you soon.